Good morning, traders. It's 8 a.m. Chicago time on Thursday, the 15th of February, 2024. Thanks for joining me this morning. This is episode number 2624. I'll remind you that derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. As you all already know, we've retired the conversion trading pre-market summary sheet. There's a lot of discourse that goes on within Convergent, and it was taking up too many resources to produce that sheet. So you're on my title screen. But what we're going to do is just jump right into an overview screen of what's going on. And I'll run through what's important for you today. Today's risk posture is mild risk on. Overall, we had some earnings this morning. Stellantis, 91 billion in euros in revenue. Deere reported, Corebridge and Laboratory Core. After the close, we get Applied Material, Digital Realty, and DraftKings. Basically, the themes today: Airbus had a slight miss, and then we also got quite a few numbers out of Europe. The main of which is the Great Britain manufacturing output, which came in pretty strong, but Great Britain's GDP misses. ECB's Lagarde commented on inflation, basically saying that inflation is trending the proper way, that tighter monetary policy is causing some cooling, which is what's wanted, and she will not be in a position to want to change it. And risk inflation popping higher. Yes, Great Britain is now officially in a recession. Deere and Company, they beat on the top line. However, their sales pipeline looks pretty weak. They guided lower. John Deere right now is down 3.8%, 3.6%. The weakest stocks this morning are John Deere and Google. Google's down 1.71%. And then Cisco, 3.96%. Cisco down over almost 4%. Initial claims came in at 212,000 versus 220,000. And the Philly Fed came in strong at plus 5.2 versus negative 9 expected. Negative 9 expected, or negative 8 expected, actually. Retail sales also came in. U.S. retail sales, this is a major figure, came in at negative 0.8 versus negative 0.1 expected. What's left for today? We have industrial production at 9:15 in about 10 minutes. We have business inventories at 10. We have NAHB housing market index at 10 as well. Fed's Waller at 1:15, and then we have the tick flows at 4, and then South Korea's unemployment rate at 6 p.m. Okay, the S&P is in a multi-distribution, as you can see. You know it. This guy's chilling. There you go. That's the kind of chart we have this morning. We have a multi-distribution profile in the S&P. 176,000 contracts have traded, as you see right there. 176,000. And the inventory is 87% long. 87% long. We're tilted to the upside. You can see that most of that nose on that John Doe here who's smoking a blunt. Most of the volume is up above the settlement price right there. And And so the inventory is 87% long. The range is only 20, is actually 20.75, which is quite reasonable. We have pushed to 50.3175. Now remember, yesterday what we talked about was that we're looking for this thing to push to the SOC, correct? We asked about the SOC, and we marked it down on our sheet. Voila. I will show you right here. This is from yesterday. Right, so we're looking for this thing to pop higher yesterday to 50.2350. That's our SOC. And this morning, the point of control is at 50.2550. Mission accomplished right there. 2350. Right. Did I say something else? Sometimes I don't know what I'm saying. All right, so let's get rid of this big nose dude and look at what we've got. So here's what happened yesterday. Very interesting action yesterday. Pretty interesting action, pretty good structure yesterday. A very early opening range trade, breaks down and then comes right back and then finally pops through the 5,000 to push to 5,009 in the S&P. Then it gets below that, gets under the opening zipper there, and then runs to extend the range down. A pullback to mid right here gives us a very tight zipper, very extended zipper, very odd looking zipper that breaks to the downside, and then we continue lower. The expectation was that it might tag the prior settlement. Did not, came right back to the DGPs right here, this sandwich. And then there was just a lot of noise here when we finally get set and then push the 50. So the 50 right here, the 5,050, 5,075, 5,000, 5,075, and it just absolutely grinds right through. There was quite a bit on the offer in an iceberg. We saw for some time that the 5,050 could not, even when it got bid, it could not print the 5,075, and it kept pulling back, kept catching people trying to trade the breakout long. And then when it did break, it really shook a lot of people out. Like if you look at that little zipper as it broke through right here, you could see it break through, right, 5,001, then come right back down to 98, then push all the way up, then come back to a higher low, then push all the way up, then come back to an inside bar, then push all the way up and come back. This has absolutely caught a bunch of scalpers in a bind. This is very expensive territory, and what you have there is somebody who's looking to get a very, very large order filled, and they're doing so in a range, in a very, very efficient range of about 2.5 points until they got done, and then we finally pushed neutral, and we ended in a neutral extreme long. And if you look at where it ended up, on the high, it pushed to 50, 20, 50, and on the close, it went to 22.75. And then this morning, on the reopen, it pulled back a little bit and then managed to push right through to the SOC. So we're looking for the SOC to get tested this morning, which it most likely will. And then what we've had in the overnight session is a relatively bullish skew on relatively bullish skew, holding these holding above VWAP or mid for the most part and kind of going sideways. A lot of balance up here. And what we see is that although VWAP and mid are not tied into the overnight point of control, we can see that the price action is quite balanced. So you have to be careful this morning and just let the market set up early. We're opening right at the edge of the prior day's high. We're back to as expected, and I don't remember where I talked about this. I've been talking a lot with the accelerator program in full effect right now at Convergent, talking a lot about trading. And I had talked a lot about the idea that the fact that we are very likely to find ourselves refuting this trade right here. This to me was very precarious for shorts. And I warned that we're very likely to find ourselves back at 50, 11, 50, 12. Right here, this point of control. This point of control right here. And we did that, and then we finally ran away. So on the first burst yesterday, above the IB, we hit 50.11, which is the 50.11, which is this white line here of these two balance days. And now the next area to track is likely to be the 50.40. And that's really the next big target. Why 50.40? So if I put a profile on this, okay, you could see that the price action shows that this is quite bullish. But the profile, and you profilers are smarter than that, because you're looking at value, and value is saying there's no such luck with that configuration that we would end up with. We would end up bullish on that, because what happened here is that the point of control for volume right here overlapped. The point of control did not move from day to day, yet price pushed to 50, 66, 50. It tried to run away. It ended up coming back and holding steady. This is the day where I came in and said that it is likely to be a very quiet, boring day. It looks to be very balanced. And then about a half hour into the open, it explodes to the upside. But ultimately, it came right back. Look at the IB. The IB is tiny that day. And we ended up going neutral with the point of control overlapping. So what this tells me is that we have this 50.41 or 50.40.75 really as the next key test area. Next key test area on any run up. So we have the gap fill at 50.33. We have and then 50.40 as the next point of control to test. The MC point of control to test. So that's what this looks like. So the CPI drop is being taken back, and you can see we're more than 50% back through. The NQ, same old story, same thing. NQ finishing with a neutral extreme high. Expect a drift up overnight. We got that drift up overnight. This is completely predictable here. Not always exact, but completely predictable. We finished at the high. So the expectation is that the auction did not finish, and it's likely to keep driving higher. The NASDAQ has 936 to fill in, and then it's likely to start tackling up here at the 18,040. No shock if we end up with a NASDAQ today at 18,000. Okay, failure. Just got to watch the lows, right? We're establishing one-time framing up again. Watch the lows in this circumstance and see how that's treated. That's going to be key. The other price in NASDAQ is 17,800 right here. Has seen quite a bit of action. It's really 17,780. 17,780 has seen quite a bit of action. Watch out for that area as well. You've got your point of control from yesterday. You've got the high of the prior day and so on, all in that same area. So 780, and then 936, and then we go to the point of control right here at 18,040 in this product. 040, and of course the 000 area. So that's the NASDAQ. The for crude managed to take, crude, you got to be careful here with the back adjustment. Crude is trading April now. You should be in CLJ4. CLJ4 is the front month. There's an adjustment on this chart. Crude has managed to push into and through this big balance zone, and it's coming right back to the point of control. Crude is expected to be trapped here. Crude has opened, has tried higher, and has come back to the open. I'm expecting crude to take out the prior low and then to start working itself into this this excess low. Beautiful P shape right there from earlier this week, from Monday. But as soon as it takes out the 76.40, look for it to move right back into the 75.30. So this 76.40 crude, if that gets taken out, it's probably a very quick move to 75.30. It's $1.10 in crude, quite a bit. Okay, I'll leave you with that. I need to run off. We have our cohort live trade.